changed your underwear before anyone noticed. Again, you picked the seat closest to the bathroom just in case. And when the doctor asked, you said a little diarrhea because the real words felt impossible to say out loud. If you're past 65 and stool is leaking without warning, you are not broken and you are not alone. As many as 1 in 5 older adults lives with exactly this. But here's the part almost no one tells you. Most people wait years before they say a single word about it, often until it's running their whole life. They suffer in silence, certain that nothing can be done. And month after month, for most of them, it slowly gets worse. Not because they're doing nothing, because they're treating the leak instead of reading what the leak is pointing to. Because that leak is a message. Every leak tells a story. The trouble is, most people read the story wrong, and the wrong story is exactly what makes it worse. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the 5 signals your body sends, the wrong story people believe about each one, and the simple, often reversible steps that hand you back your confidence. And we'll start with the one almost everyone gets backwards, because getting it backwards is exactly what turns a small, private problem into a daily one. First, how control actually works, because it's cleverer than most people realize. At the very end of your digestive tract sits the rectum, a short holding chamber the last few inches before the exit. Around that exit are 2 rings of muscle. One stays quietly closed all day on its own without you ever thinking about it. The other you can squeeze on command, the one you'd use to hold in gas in a crowded room. Just above them, a sling of pelvic floor muscle keeps a gentle kink in the tube, like a bend in a garden hose, so nothing slips out by accident. And the lining of the rectum is full of sensors that tell your brain, something's arrived down here, it's time to go. Real control needs all of it at once. Stool firm enough to hold, sensors that feel it coming, muscles that clamp down when you need them. So a leak is never random. It means one link in that chain is sending up a flare. Your only job is to find out which link. So let's read the 5 signals one by one, because each one points somewhere different, and each one has a different answer. Signal 1 is the leak that comes with a feeling of fullness, and it's the one almost everyone gets backwards. You leak thin, watery stool, so every instinct says this is diarrhea. But in a great many older adults, it's the exact opposite. The real trouble is hard, dry stool backed up and packed into the rectum. It doesn't block the exit completely, so fresh, watery stool slides down from higher up, finds the gaps around that hardened mass, and slips past the muscles with no warning. Doctors call it overflow, and it's one of the most common and most missed causes of leakage there is. The giveaway is that fullness, you leak, yet you still feel heavy and unfinished, like you sat down and never quite emptied. Leaking and fullness at once, that's the fingerprint. And here's the cruel part. Because it looks exactly like diarrhea, people take something to stop it, which only hardens the plug and makes the leaking worse. You cannot plug your way out of this one. The fix is the opposite. Gently clear the back up, then keep your stool soft enough that it never packs down again. Stopping the leak starts with emptying what's stuck. And it's why the least active among us get hit hardest. The more hours you spend sitting or lying down, the longer stool sits, the more water your body pulls out of it, and the harder that hidden plug becomes. Signal 2 is the leak you never feel coming. There's no urge, no warning. You simply discover it after it's already happened. That doesn't point at the muscles. It points at the sensors. When the rectum has been stretched out by years of backed up stool, or when the nerves have been dulled, very often by diabetes, those time-to-go signals grow faint, then go silent. The muscle may be perfectly strong. It's the warning system that stopped ringing. The wrong story is, my muscles are finished. They may not be at all, and this kind responds beautifully to retraining the rectum to feel and answer on a schedule, which I'll show you in a moment. Signal 3 is the leak you can't outrun. The urge slams into you out of nowhere, and you simply can't reach the bathroom in time. That's urgency. And it usually means one of two things, or both at once. The stool is too loose, or the squeeze muscle is weaker than it used to be. Loose, watery stool fills the rectum fast and is far harder to hold than a formed stool. Sometimes there's a specific trigger: too much caffeine, artificial sweeteners, a food your body no longer handles well. And simply writing down what you ate the day before a bad episode can reveal the pattern. The wrong story is, this is just old age. It usually isn't. The path back runs through firming things up and rebuilding that squeeze. Both are very fixable. Signal 4 is the leak that shows up after you thought you were done. Everything seems fine. You have a normal bowel movement, you clean up, you carry on, and then a little staining turns up later. That's seepage, and it almost always means the bowel didn't fully empty. A small amount stayed behind because the pelvic floor muscles didn't relax and coordinate the way they should. The wrong story is, I need more fiber, I need to push harder. It's neither. The fix is gently teaching those muscles to let go completely the first time you sit down. Signal 5 is the leak with a date on the calendar, and it's the one your doctor may skip right over. Your leakage started or got noticeably worse right after a change in your medications. Pay close attention here because this matters more than almost anything on your plate. Some drugs harden the stool into the very plug that sets up overflow. Others loosen it until it overwhelms the muscles. Iron tablets, certain strong painkillers, some blood pressure pills, common antacids, and yes, even the very laxatives meant to help when they're overused can tip you straight into leaking. If the timing lines up with a new prescription, that's a clue, not a coincidence. Never stop a medicine on your own. Write down the timeline, bring it to your doctor, and ask the question directly. So what actually works? Start with the stool itself, because getting the consistency right fixes more leaks than anything else you can do. Not too hard, not too loose, soft and formed, about the texture of toothpaste. If you're backed up, gently clearing it and then staying regular shuts off overflow at the source. And here's the biggest myth I see in the comments. Fiber by itself is not the magic answer. Fiber without enough water turns into a dense, dry brick, and it makes the whole thing worse, not better. The trick is the kind of fiber that holds water: oats, ground flaxseed, a little psyllium, paired with real fluid through the day, somewhere around 6 to 8 glasses unless your doctor has told you otherwise, and add it slowly, a little more each week, or you'll trade leaking for bloating. Then move your body. You don't need a gym. A gentle 20-minute walk most days physically wakes up the muscles of the bowel and helps stool move through on time instead of stalling and drying out. Then retrain the whole system, because muscles and reflexes can be taught again. Yes, even in your 80s. Pick one time each day, ideally 15 to 20 minutes after a meal, when the bowel is naturally at its most active, and sit on the toilet whether or not you feel the urge. Put your feet up on a low stool so your knees sit above your hips. Lean forward and breathe out slowly instead of straining. You're teaching your body a rhythm it can count on. Then do the muscle work, gentle squeezes of that same muscle you'd use to hold in gas, held a few seconds and released, a few short sessions a day. And if you're not sure you're using the right muscle, a pelvic floor therapist with biofeedback can show you exactly which one and how hard. For a great many people, that retraining alone can restore real control without a single pill or procedure. And the most important step of all costs you nothing. Say the real word out loud. Doctors even have a gentler name for it: accidental bowel leakage, and they use it for a reason. So many people are too embarrassed to bring it up, or they quietly call it diarrhea and get sent down completely the wrong path. Name it accurately, and the treatment finally aims at the right target. None of this replaces your own doctor. It's here so you walk in knowing the right questions to ask. But hear this clearly. This is not the price of getting older, and it is not something you simply have to live with in silence. Now, the vast majority of leakage is mechanical and very treatable with everything we've covered. But sometimes the body waves a different kind of flag, one that needs attention now, not next month. See a doctor promptly if you notice blood in the stool, especially dark blood, or the stool that suddenly turned pencil thin and stays that way. Get checked for unexplained weight loss alongside a change in your bowel habits, for severe belly pain or vomiting, or for leakage that appears out of nowhere with no clear cause. These deserve a proper look without delay. And knowing that difference isn't meant to frighten you. It's the opposite. It's power. So let's pull it together. Accidental bowel leakage after 65 is common, it is not your fault, and it is rarely what it looks like on the surface. More often than not, that watery leak is overflow sneaking around a hidden backup, not true diarrhea at all. So read the signal. A leak that comes with fullness? Clear the backup. A leak you never feel coming? Retrain the sensors. An urge you can't outrun? Firm things up and strengthen. Staining after a normal trip? Empty completely? New leakage after a new pill? Talk to your doctor, fix the stool, retrain the muscles, drink your water, and say the real word out loud. Your body is not failing you. It's trying to tell you something, and now you finally know how to listen. One honest note before you go. This video is here to inform, not to diagnose. It's general education, not medical advice for your own situation. So treat it as a starting point and let a professional who can examine you take it from there. Listen the first time and act on it. Subscribe for more simple steps to take back your health.